That's how I play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See? Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So how does it feel to finally look? I don't even know. Look, I already know how smart you are. You got like 2 college degrees and all the other stuff that goes with it. But you have been able.
Really, only one, and I'm working on a second one. But continue. I'll take all of that.
Yeah, but you have essentially probably one of the very few Earthlings on this planet who can handle geniuses running around the house. So it's like serious. Even though I'm kind of joking about it, you know, people are dying every 8 seconds because of suicide. You know, and
Right.
and the thing about it is you have all of these kids and they're part of this generation that we're trying to save, and not even just their generation, but just people not being seen in general. But it's something about the way you move that just keeps people.
There's a song about it.
What is the song?
Something about the way you move. But anyway.
So it's just like you're doing something that's keeping the world's biggest genius, i.e. our daughter, together. Like, nobody else has done the shit that I've done. It's very few people on this planet who have done it. I've done it.
Right.
She has the brain to do it.
And I think the difference for me, one was the intention. 2 was, and what I mean by intention was, Neotech plan a long time ago. 2 was having the foresight to move, not only when Spirit said move, but to move to where when I didn't know what was going on. Like, just to move. Because the stability that came with this last move made it sort of solidified it. It made it easier for me to say I'm the kind of parent that I set out to be, meaning that they can go out and make mistakes and go out and explore the world and absolutely know that they have a place to land and that they, can be responsible for. Like, that's not necessarily a space where you and I came from. Like, it was like 18, kind of get out, get on your own, go make it. You can come back, but you only going to get about so much support before we expect you to do X, Y, Z, and the third, or we expect you to be this person, that person. You can never be you.
Yeah.
You can never have mental illness per se. You can never have any challenges, because after 2 months, you got to be able to contribute to the household. After 2 months, you got to attend this or do that. So you got to show up a certain kind of way in order to get just basic human support. And I didn't want my children to ever feel like they needed to be anything other than themselves in order for somebody to love them. I never, ever wanted to feel like they had to trade parts of themselves, whether they knew it or not, to be loved. That's not it.
Wow. So, let me go a little bit deeper and peel back this onion. Do you think, what inspired you, more importantly, what inspired you to actually start thinking like that?
Let's take it all the way back to about 1990. Okay, this will be the year before I met you. And that would be the year I went off to college. Life was pretty good. Life was great. I had graduated from high school. I had gotten over my, stint in the psych ward. That's a whole nother story. And life was good in 1990. And then my world turned upside down in the spring of 1991. That's when I got pregnant. That's when I was assaulted. That's when I had a miscarriage, all within like 2-3 months of each other. That's when I left my mother's quote-unquote care and went to live with Pee-wee.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and before you keep going, you're okay with 8 billion people hearing this story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's when I went to live with my aunt, and there was a different level of care and a different level of understanding that came from being up from under my mother. Now, this is no bash on my mother. My mother mothered differently, and she had her own traumas, and I accept that. So it's not to bash her, but I'm not sure whether she didn't have the capacity. I don't know. But in that moment, my mother wasn't able to give me all of what I needed. So I went and stayed with Pee-wee. And I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I was there with Pee-wee and Charlie. And I didn't have to do a damn thing. I just had to wake up and eat. And I was cooking every day because they had food. And it was just me and them. And she took me to the doctor to get checked out. We didn't go to the psychiatrist or the psychologist, but I was going to counseling on campus. And my friends from college, from Tappahannock, they were all sending me letters, and I have most of them still, handwritten letters, telling me how much they loved me, telling me I really need to come back to school, telling me it was worth the fight. And if it were not for that kind of support to just be at a very critical time in my life, I would have been back at Loyola. And, and that kind of support, was it financial? Yes. But it was more than that, because Pee-wee a whole different person than my mama.
Yep.
We related on a different level. I could say things to her that I couldn't say to my mother. And even though she had not been through all the things that I had been through at 18, 1-8, she was able to provide a space for me to do some healing. And I wouldn't have known it was healing then. I just knew I needed to get my head together. So when I came back to Loyola in the fall, I was gung-ho and ready to fight. And I mean seriously ready to fight. I was like, this is my degree. I'm paying for it. My mother's paying for it. And I want to do things differently. It made me understand who I was as a person. And, it reaffirmed some values that I had. So, and then I met you. At a table during student affair, during sign-up week, because I think I was an evergreen then. And I was doing stuff for the Black Student Association. And I met you at a table. And you were different. Now, mind you, coming off the heels of onward through trauma, it's hard to not feel like you were being thirsty. Now, looking back at it. But you just didn't move like the dudes that play basketball and the 5 other black men that was on campus, because, we went to a PWI. Because it was 5. Everybody else was on the basketball team. Don't lie.
Wow. You're taking me back. I haven't thought of it since then. Wow.
Because you was a height and the size of somebody who could have played ball, but you didn't. So it's like, huh? What? I don't understand. And I'm still being a country girl, not quite getting all of the things. And you didn't look at me the same way that the other guys did. They looked at me as country, like that was my nickname. They looked at country meaning uncultured, country meaning I don't know anything, country meaning I'm ignorant, country meaning, I have no exposure. And you looked at me as like, okay, so she's a little different. I don't know how different, but she's a little different. And you were open to experiencing me. And that was like the first time that I didn't really have to prove anything to anybody. Like, I didn't have to prove I liked you. You didn't have to prove you liked me. Like, I wasn't trying to take up space that wasn't mine. So as our relationship progressed and we spent God knows how many hours together, that's when the ideas began that I would raise children differently. Because we talked about kids very, very early on. And sidebar, with all three of my children's fathers, the conversation came up very early in the relationship. That is one thing that is definitely significant. Is that early on we had these conversations about having children. So it wasn't like it was something new or weird or accidental, so to speak. So you and I sat down and we talked numbers. Like, we really laid, like, that was the strangest, most brilliant conversation. We talked numbers. This is how many. And we argued about how many children we were having. And I was like, we are really arguing about something that's going to happen 7-10 years down the road. And we argued about that. And then we wrote it down. And then we signed the contract. Like, it was... Like, and the book that you carried around was like the fucking Bible. You know, like...
We not... Hey, they're going to have to pay for this part right here.
I'm just saying. I didn't name the book. But, I mean, like, if you have it, you have the signatures in there. Like, if you find the book, you still have it.
I completely destroyed the book. I don't have it.
But you understand what I'm saying. So we go from there, and I knew at that point.
It was an agreement for cohabitation.
Right. Like, we weren't living together, but we were living together. And we weren't parents, but we were parents. Like, it was just we were so type A. Had two type A personality people. Like, it worked, but then it didn't. Because both of us wanted to be in charge. Like, it was weird. But anyway, that's when I started, to answer your question, is when we started to have those conversations. And you really sort of shifted how I thought about what age I thought marriage was a possibility, because I really, before then, was not even on nobody's get married tip. Marriage and family, because that wasn't part of me. What? I was going to be a single professor with one child. Like, that was my dream. I was going to be a single PhD with one kid.
Wow. And
until I ran into you. And it was like, oh, I can I have a partner? And more than one? Oh, okay. So that's where the foundation was. And, and after meeting your family and looking back on it, understanding some of the socioeconomic and the dynamics that were vastly different between the two of us, I understand why we had dreams that were incompatible, why our dreams sort of went parallel at one point, because I didn't even understand the Great Migration and how closely your family was to that move. Because I'm thinking, okay, your daddy from Alabama. Okay. I'm not thinking that he's part of the flow of black people that left Alabama to come north. Like, that wasn't part of the history that I learned. So, I didn't get none of that until I was good and grown. I didn't understand your family history, understand what was going on, because my family had been living on the land in the South for generations. So your story didn't make sense to me. Or it just didn't make sense to me. Urbanity, being in a city, didn't make sense to me. Like, moving from the country to the city didn't make no sense to me. Because even Pee-wee in her houses ain't live in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she was always suburbia. And, my aunt lived in apartments in D.C., and then she lived in houses. And Uncle Garland lived, Avis. They lived in houses. But they were in the nice parts of the city, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, it won't projects, it won't hood, it won't none of that. So, like, when, I don't know if you remember this conversation, you and Pee-wee got to talking, and you were telling her whereabouts you lived, and she told you about a project or a property.
She talked about the Bennett homes.
Right.
That she had just finished up.
She talked about that. And she knew it because she had managed the projects.
Yep.
You knew it because your friends was over there. That's where you live.
Yep. She was the first known person who wasn't an end user in my life. Like, she was the one who actually controlled the end result.
Right. And see, that's my perspective. So, for me, I didn't know anybody who came out the projects. We didn't have projects in Tappahannock. We had trailer courts.
And one stoplight.
We got about 8 now.
Yeah, we had one. I wasn't even kidding. Like, you legitimately had one stoplight, and it was it was a blinking yellow one. And then a few years later, they put a Walmart over there, which forced them to get traffic lights.
Right. So, like, we didn't have. So, again, understanding like Section 8 and public housing and all of that, and the impact it has on your family and the proximity and the ecosystems that it created, that were created by, the government, is foreign to me. So I didn't get 3/4 of your story. I didn't understand your story because my expectations were like, y'all got a house. It's not a bad house. It's not a big house. It's a row house. Everybody up here got row houses. So why can't you pay for college? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like why? Why are you working at McDonald's? I'm confused. I don't. You know what I'm saying? It did not compute that your family really didn't have anything to contribute, or that you didn't know or have the resources to be able to go find a job or, do whatever. It didn't compute. Even though I was working 2 jobs on campus.
Yeah, but they were different types of jobs. They were more white-collar, high-level thinking jobs, and I was doing labor.
Right. So, again, I didn't think of doing labor. The last time I worked as a fry cook or in any kind of fast food restaurant was for 4 months or 3 months in order to pay for my dress for senior prom. That's the only reason why I went to work. To do that kind of work. I ain't want to do it after that. I was like, thank you for my last paycheck. Bye-bye.
Yeah. And for me, it was really a way of living.
Right. For me, that is a gateway. That is an entry. It is not like build yourself up, go to McDonald's University, become a manager. I'm like, you don't own the McDonald's? You've been there for how long?
Oh, my God.
That's right. So my mindset was different from yours. And even when we broke up, got back together, and you decided to enlist in the service when I told you to go get a job.
That was like a quasi, I need to take the next step, because I had already said to myself, after we got off the road doing door-to-door sales, because that's where you lump that one in, that I was just like, you know what, I got to check this box, because regardless of how people feel about this country, we all need to volunteer. That was my mindset, and I still think that to a lot of extent, not all the extent, but enough of it. But legitimately, that's why I went to the Marines, because I just knew that was the next step for me.
And it was so wild, besides the fact that you had walked, I don't know how many miles to go to McDonald's, and had become friends with the Marine Corps recruiters.
That's our Russell.
Russell. So it was funny to me, but it was so weird. I was like, you could do anything in the world, and you enlisted in the Marine Corps. Not that I didn't love a blood stripe. Not that I didn't show you the recruiting station behind my grandmother's house. No.
Literally. That's where I enrolled.
Quite literally, like you were there. That wasn't the issue. The issue was you could be anything. You could be anything. And I was like, wow. And I didn't get it.
How did you know that I could be anything, though? How did you really know that I could? How did you really know that I could be anything?
I knew that when I first met you. I knew that by the way you carried yourself. I knew that by your individual sense of style. I knew that by the confidence that whether it was natural or superimposed. And I knew that by the way you spoke. Like, I knew you could be anything. I just knew it. Like, I didn't see you as being somebody who works in, I never even understood why you worked at McDonald's. I was like, that's beneath him. He's supposed to be running the company, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to be in charge of people.
So I didn't know. Like, you said, do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I didn't know. And that's the big question right now. Like, so your environment, what was it? What caused, I mean, like, your natural habitat was always in control.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dealing with a penny stinker. That's what they call the poor people at the opera, you know, that they look down on.
Yes.
I was a penny stinker. So,
right.
so you're coming from black royalty practically and touching penny stinkers.
Yes. Yes. And the conversations were, we love him, he's great, he's a good hard worker, you know, he's smart, blah, 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 you know, and he seems to be getting his stuff together. And I wasn't even thinking you were getting yourself together. Like that, I was like, where's the degree at? Why haven't you finished college? We're supposed to be both finished college right now. Why are you in the Marine Corps?
I still ain't finished.
You know what I'm saying?
I still ain't finished.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, you know, we decide to have a baby. You know, and that's really important for this conversation because Tyler was no mistake.
Yeah, she wasn't.
Tyler was absolutely planned.
She was absolutely intentioned.
Absolutely intentioned because I was on birth control and I was like, you sure you want to do this? He was like, yeah. I said, are you absolutely positive? Because, and I gave you this, like, I'm going to have to move out of this apartment. I'm going to have to break my lease. You're going to have to, yeah. I'm like, are you sure? I said, I won't be able to work. And at the time, I was making more money than you. And I was like, our life is really going to change. Are you sure you want to do this? Because I said, I've never been pregnant. Well, I mean, I had, but not really. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a job. And I didn't have a license. I could drive, but I have not licensed the first.
Yeah.
I'm giving you real world. I'm giving you, like, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe what?
And you're like, maybe, I don't know, maybe we should think about it. And you were like, no, we're good. One and done. Like, there was no question. We both looked at each other and said, oh. We don't need a test. We know. We don't need a test. We know. We really know. Like, in the moment. Like, oh, there's somebody in there.
Oh, my God. I haven't laughed this hard in so long. That's some funny shit.
So we pack up, we move to Norfolk, we find a place that you compromised on.
Yep.
Because I wanted to be near the water.
Yep.
You didn't want to be near the water. I was like, dude, I need to see.
Yeah, that's how
I
you
want to
live.
be able to. Right, and that was the biggest compromise you made was to be on the water. Unfortunately, it wasn't near anybody. So, you know, the compromise worked and it didn't work.
Yep.
You know, so, and then you spent a lot of time working. Like you pull 14 and 16 hour days.
Pulled?
Which again, for a young pregnant woman and a young pregnant black woman who had just given up everything to be with you, I thought you were going to make more money because I didn't understand how the system worked. I was happy to have insurance, but there was no real money coming in. I was like, the hell? What is this? Why? I can't live like this. There's no way to raise a family. There's no support here. And it wasn't your fault that I didn't understand the way the system worked in any way, shape, or form. That wasn't your fault. I just didn't know. And then, we would go back and forth to the prenatal appointments. And I remember the night or the morning that Tyler was born, I was like, yo, I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more. I didn't even buy any maternity clothes. I was supposed to be wearing your shirts. Like, your shirts, your pants. That's what I wore. I was like, okay. And I was ready to have her. You thought we were going to have her on the Marine Corps birthday.
Hoorah.
And you said, guess what? I got a friend. He named his daughter Marina Cora. I said, what? We are not naming her Marina Cora. But don't you want to have her on the Marine? No, I do not want to have her on the Marine Corps.
So you took an aspirin.
She will never live that down. She wouldn't have her own birthday.
Oh my God.
And you were like, yes, she would. The Marine Corps would celebrate her birthday. No, they would not. Give her her own day. And that's just like the day we were driving around. Well, when we picked out our first name based on that sonogram where Tyler was holding up her finger.
Well, what happened was we made an agreement before we got the sonogram that if it was a boy, I get the first name, and if it was a girl, you get the first name. And then we got the sonogram.
And then we got the sonogram, and Tyler is literally like holding her finger in the wrong place. And I'm just like, oh, we're having a boy. My mother kept saying, no, it's a girl. I was like, but look at the sonogram. My mother's like, I don't care what the sonogram said. It's a girl. All right, so you pick Tyler. I said, cool, that's a great name. It's unisex. It's not as ethnic sounding. So, because we were definitely on that tip of giving her a head start in the system so that she would, not be as burdened by, whether it's an ethnic name, whether it's a feminine sounding name. Like, we worked really hard on that. Then we were driving in Virginia Beach, and this was not even 4 days before she was born?
Yeah, it was over there by the mall. We were over there by the mall.
Over there by the mall.
Yep.
And we looked up and was like, Michelle Street. Okay, we good.
Yep.
And and then there was Tyler's birth. Walking around the hospital. You and your damn camera. You and that goddamn camera.
But see, all of this define how you raised her, though. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this story is so epic. I totally forgot about it to an extent because I didn't have to live the birthing of it.
Yeah, so the camera. So we're walking around. We're having a good old time. You're trying to be supportive. We get into, labor and delivery. You pull out the camera. Not holding my hand now. Not touching me. No, sir, we are not taking pictures. No. The thing about Tyler's birth that I don't think you caught is that there was trauma involved. Not from you.
No, I didn't know that.
They were supposed to give me numbing when they cut me. They did not. Because they had to cut me to let Tyler out. They were supposed to give me a little bit of a local. They didn't do that. And you know why they didn't do that?
No.
Because I'm black. So the way they treated me in the hospital had everything to do with the color of my skin. And I was on the tip that didn't really happen, especially not in the military. Okay? But because I had subsequent births, I saw how I was treated. And I was like, okay, this is how you do me. And I remember when you took the picture of Tyler's head next to my boob, which I still have, and how my boobs were bigger than Tyler. And at that point, I wanted to smack the shit out of you, but I did not. I was nice. But the picture is hilarious. That picture is just totally hilarious, and it's reminiscent and of how we are. Like, it was a perfect picture. And then, of course, it was me cussing out the nurses and apologizing the entire time. Because I would cuss them out and say, I'm sorry. And I left my body. I was in so much pain. And I came back in. There are parts of the birth that I do not remember. And I came back in right as she was coming out. And then I was sitting there with my legs stretched wide open, and they're stitching me up. And they're having this conversation with me like, they didn't give you any numbing? I was like, no. Oh. 4 or 5 motherfuckers sitting here looking at my crotch. Can I see my baby? And from there, we got home, after Tara came, we got home, and we still didn't have quite the kind of support that I was used to.
Yeah.
We just didn't have it. And I couldn't work because daycare, we had to make a really crazy decision about whether to keep me at home and have me watch the baby or to have me get up and go to work. And because I wasn't willing to work for less than I was worth, those jobs weren't calling me back. I could have gone up the street to work at Farm Fresh or, 7-Eleven. That wasn't even on my radar. I was thinking good government job. I was thinking, something like that. Something that, I was going to put the baby in the daycare with Tara.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was, I'm saying, so I could afford to pay my cousin to watch my baby. Like, my mindset was not about working anybody's manual. Have you seen me do manual labor except in the yard?
Yeah.
No. Have you? So it wasn't even a thought. It wasn't a thought. So when we split, ultimately it was because we were literally on 2 different pages in that book. And I thought I was on the same page as you, but I wasn't. We both had traumas unaddressed that we were working through. Yours were definitely less apparent to me. Mine were more apparent to you because I had come off the heels of all of that stuff, and it was a regular conversation, but I wasn't dealing with that shit either. So I moved back in with my mother, and I went right back to my comfort zone. My mother was helping me with Tyler. I went to work tutoring, and then I went back and started teaching. I was back. Was I doing labor? Absolutely. But I was back in my comfort zone.
Wow.
And then I decided to enlist in the Coast Guard. Because I wanted lifetime benefits for myself. Because I saw how the system, no matter where you go, is not set up for the long term. So I enlisted to ensure that I had benefits and that Tyler had benefits, regardless of whether you were in or out. Because that was something that was important to both of us. Like, is to always have access to insurance.
Yeah.
So that was a huge reason why I went in. And I also wanted to be able to raise Tyler in a way and show her things in a way that I never got to see. I wanted her to be places and see things that I never got to see. And I knew the military would offer me the opportunity to raise my child as a single parent.
Wow.
Yeah.
All that just from flipping your thoughts to just get with me.
Right.
Your whole life shifted because of that one decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely shifted.
Because now that I think about it, like how you're saying it years later, people would probably have thought that you were crazy for getting with him, because I felt it. They kind of looked at him like, he kind of looks like us. He's like the Impossible Burger. So he kind of looks like meat, but is he really meat? And why is he doing this weird stuff? Like, he should be with right, But that's how I felt, though, because you got some brilliant-ass people in your family and the people who they're attached to. I still haven't found people like that in my life.
Well, I mean,
for crying out loud,
so
really? Like, you guys would clown Chris Brown because y'all, yeah, whatever. And y'all hear he's like a celeb.
Child, please. One of the girls I went to church with is his cousin, and she posted pictures of when she and his mama was up in Chicago celebrating a birthday. And I promise you that his mother remembers Tori. Like, I promise you that she does, because her hand ain't but so big.
Mm-hmm.
Chris is Chris to me.
Right. I'm trying to get people, and this is very important what you're saying right here, because I am literally trying to get people to understand that when they see me rocking with celebrities, that doesn't mean anything to me, and you're positive proof of that because I actually learned that from you. You actually taught me, because there's so many people who you knew, you're just like, they ain't doing nothing, or, you wouldn't say it like negatively. I want to be super clear about that. You were just saying, in a grand scheme of things, they have more work to do. That's all.
Right. And, okay, so it's Chris.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for you, it's just Chris. Everyone's like, oh, my God. And it's just like, we're just showing you that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Right.
And like, the way you met Snoop, just like the way I met the dude that wrote Makes Me Want to Holler. I think that was the book that he wrote. The way I met him, like for real, I was knocking on doors. He was an ordinary person. He pulled me in, he told his story. Next thing I know, the thing is a book. Wait.
Yeah, people don't even know that about us. They never knew that we did door-to-door sales together for years. And I just got off. See, that's how crazy this conversation is. You just reminded me of who was on the panel I was with just yesterday. This is one day out, and we literally were on the panel with Teresa Goss. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
She still holds the United States record for the most vacuums sold.
Oh, wow.
Right. I was just on a panel with her yesterday, October 31st.
Wow.
And now it's November 1st at 1:11 p.m. All of these 11 straight out as we're talking about it. My ultimate wish is for world peace. Let's go.
So, yeah, I mean, we just, and even if you go back to that chunk of life for us and for me, when I didn't have a job and I hated the program that I was in, and I only applied to that program because there was nothing else for me to do, because I didn't really make a plan. So I'm in D.C. at this racist-ass master's program, hating white people, trying to help little black children, and feeling horrible. Like I felt I had no money. These was people.
I gotta stop you. I normally don't cut you off, but that's like the earthiest thing I've ever heard you say. Because that people are trying to force you to hate other people.
Yes. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't like this. This is not me. Beyond the fact that it was a whole Catholic thing. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, this ain't me. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, yo, you got a job? He was like, yep. And everybody on the crew was like, who the hell is that? What's she here for? She gonna work? Are you sure? Like, they read and ripped me for filth. You hear me? Filth. I was not black enough. I was too educated. I was too everything. And that's why, Walton and everybody else Michael had to work with me, because it was so far out of my experience. I didn't have a hustler's mindset. When you come from a certain experience, when you don't have support, you have to hustle.
You just said such a big bar right there. You just crushed the online guru industry for what you just said. Say it again.
When you don't have support, you have to hustle. So everybody on the crew came from a situation where they didn't have support. Like, quite literally. It was not an active choice. They didn't know if they could go home. They were looking for better lives. I remember when I first met Vera, and she told me that she left her, 2 or 3 kids.
Yep.
To work. I was like, to work on the road? And for me, it brought up images of slavery. Like, I immediately went back to slavery. Like, you left your kids with your mama, which is something I promised myself I would never do, because I know what it feels like. For her to raise your kids, for you to send money back. I'm like, I want to be present for my children. I do not want to be absent. Money is not the end-all and be-all for me. Relationship is. And because I knew what that felt like, I was like, I'll be damned. So Vera helped solidify how I was not going to raise my kids. No amount of money was worth me being away from them and missing the moments, because I can't get them back.
If only she would have taught me that.
Huh?
I said, if only she would have taught me that, because I was on the other side with her husband, Ralph.
Right.
And he taught me, he was completely opposite. He didn't mind traveling and doing the other stuff because they would just have enough time, you know, at home to at least see the kids before they got back on the road.
Right, but but for me, and it was, and they weren't the only ones. There were other people who had children, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And they out here like pounding the pavement, and these people, to me, these people are smart, far smarter than they give themselves credit for. Like, far smarter than me in ways that I couldn't even imagine. And you out here selling. I'm like, why aren't you in corporate America? Why aren't you like making $60,000, $70,000 a year? And Michael was the only one who seemed to understand where I came from. And the reason is because Michael's parents were rich. Like, not where I was. We was on the edge of. Michael's parents had money. That's why he carried himself the way he did.
Sure did.
And he didn't need his job. He did it because he wanted to. He was rich.
He was the first. I don't know if you ever watched Squid Game. He's the first guy I know who was actually real Squid Game.
You're right.
Oh my God. What?
You're right. He definitely
shit.
is that person.
Yes.
So out of everybody that I got along with and that they paired me with, there was nobody that made any sense to me. And he wasn't from the deep South. He lived in Philly, and he lived in Florida. And Florida's a whole different beast. He lived in Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah.
That's the rich people.
Yeah.
Right? So it's different. Everybody else was from the deep-ass South. Places I ain't never stepped foot in, didn't want to see.
Yep.
Didn't understand. Like, so there was no connection with me. With half the people, the new people, the old people. I was like, go.
This is such an eye-opening conversation. Like, this is really, we've really officially cracked the game exposed. That's what this is for. Because, huh?
I said, well, yeah. I think we those months, when I talk to people and when I give, I tell people, I said, I learned to hustle. I said, I can sell salt to a slug. Don't worry about that. I said, I sold books and magazines door to door. I said, but I didn't make any money. And they were like, what? I said, I didn't make any money. One, because I didn't want to. I quite literally didn't want to make any money. And two, I went there with a purpose. And three, people saw through me. Because I couldn't be inauthentic when I was doing it. And that's what the program and everybody else, all the trainers were asking me to say things that weren't true. And I couldn't do it. So when I would get to the door, I would do the little spiel. I could do it in Spanish. I learned to do that. It still wasn't authentic. So And I will never forget this. Every day I knocked on somebody's door, they prayed for me. They told me that this was not my calling. Every single day I was on the road. Complete strangers. So I believe in angels.
Wow.
I didn't know these people. I didn't know these people.
Yeah.
All the cities we stopped in, all the places we went to, every door I knocked on. They're like, come in, sit down. This not your calling. I'm not going to buy a book from you, but you can have a rest. And they asked me about my story. So what I learned from that, and what I learned, from you and being married in that space, is that when two people don't lay a really strong foundation, things can go awry, not by intention, but because we didn't truly communicate what we were looking for. I was looking for a husband. You weren't looking for a wife at that time. You were just looking to be married. And there's a huge difference. I was looking for the support base that I was used to. You couldn't give me that. You wanted me to be able to work and see your vision and give you time to build the foundation. And I didn't have it. Because I knew it was going to take years and years. Like I knew then. It was going to take you longer to get there. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So, but I wanted to be married to you. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to sleep with you. I wanted to laugh with you. I wanted to do all the fun things. But the real stuff of life, kind of got in the way. Because your family did the best they could to kind of provide space. And I had never been in that situation. I didn't understand why people's families would tell them, no, you can't stay with them. I just didn't understand that. Like that was never a part of people in my family didn't tell me no. What? No. What are you talking about?
It's interesting as far as what you're saying, because I know we're talking about, cracking the code and how we did it for Tyler to make her who she is right now. And I don't want to say make it like that because we've both given her enough space to be who she is. But the part that comes full circle for me now is, for one, I apologize. Even though you still voluntarily made the jump, I still wasn't able to catch a falling angel. So you literally went to the depths of hell with me. And I'm not talking about the people. I'm just talking about that mindset, that consciousness. You were beyond the red line. You were broken. Like you talked about the psych ward and all that stuff. I think that was probably a warm up for what you really went through in the road. Or am I inaccurate on that?
No, you're right.
Because you're strong, and for you to raise her without me like that, based on how I am, you're strong. So
it took a lot for me to look at you not as the man that I fell in love with rose-colored glasses, but as Fred, because Durf and Fred are two different people. And Abu is a third person. Okay, so I was looking at you as Abu. And I didn't give you the space to be who you are, because I needed to lower my expectations. That had nothing to do with you not being able to provide. It just had being able to accept the person for where they are. And you didn't have the skills, the capacity, the access to be able to give me, some of the things that I needed. And I didn't have the language to tell you, this is what I need. Instead, what I did was I showed you. And you were like, huh? I was like, nah, I'm calling my aunt. We can't do this. We tried it your way. And it was like, okay. It's like, we coming. Can we stay? Yep, absolutely. And you were like, there's no exchange? I said, no, you're going to have to get up and get a job at some point, but we got to get ourselves together. And we weren't worried about food. We weren't hungry. I'd never been so hungry in my life. And I had never had to worry about food unless I wanted to. I didn't worry about a place to stay unless I wanted to. It was that kind of underneath the system disengagement was heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, eye-opening, a lot of things. It taught me a lot of very valuable lessons that I didn't know would serve me well when I went to go work with folks who were homeless. And that would be some 20 years later that I would go and do work and and work with folks who that's their life. And again, for me, it feels like choice because I had support systems. But for most people, they don't have the foundation or the support systems to either get up and out of that situation or for it not to be cyclic. Because they don't have it. They didn't do anything wrong, as, I believed at one point. They didn't do anything wrong. They just don't have access. So when it came to raising Tyler and my other girls and making sure that I stayed true to who I knew you could be, part of it was to be able to walk away and say, you got to go through your own stuff. And I want Tyler to grow up, exposed to this and exposed to that. And then to watch her turn into a mini you. Okay. That's just not funny.
That one shocked me.
She would look like you and she would talk like you when I was like, Fred is not here. Right. And she would say little things and I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Well, hold on. Before you go down there, I want to go back to something when we were on the road because it sounds like we're walking off the road. How did you see me once you saw Ellison giving me that kind of power? What do you think that move was all about? Because you had different eyes on it.
I hated it. I hated that you had that much power and weren't being compensated the way you should be. I hated that you had that much power, but he also wrangled your time. Like, he made sure that you didn't see your wife. Because he made it evidently clear to me that there was no way, there was no way that you were going to spend more time with me. You were actually going to spend less time with me because your job was more important than our new marriage. So I hated it. I hated it. I was proud of you, but I didn't get to share in the joy. I didn't get to share in the accomplishments. Sandra spent more time, Love spent more time with you than I did. Like, quite literally. Because we didn't even sleep in the same bed. We were married for months and did not sleep in the same bed because of Ellison. Because he thought I was a distraction. And everybody thought you were everything. And I was like...
Tell me about that. I didn't know that. I never saw that part.
Yeah. Everybody looked up to you. Everybody thought you were really cool. You were great. La, la, la.
But these are street people. These are like thugs, pushers. Keep going.
Right.
No, right. They don't know. They don't understand. See, my problem right now, and this is what you experience, and here's where I'm at, and that's why I had Eddie Washington to literally co-sign for me, because they don't know this side of the story of how I earn the respect of the streets. Like, they don't understand. You watch me coach people make themselves better no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, please talk about that. That is huge.
So, Ellison, even before I got on the road, you had already been on the road for God knows how long, probably a year.
Which is forever.
So forever. So you had come up through the ranks, and anytime we would talk on the phone, I would always hear in the background, "Yo, Fred, da-da-da-da-da, yada-yada-yada, Fred, da-da-da-da, you did this, big day, big day." Like, they literally was hyping you up on the phone. I was like, oh, wow. I just didn't get it. And again, you knew that they were thugs and pushers and drug dealers and whatever. I didn't. Like, I literally did not know that about them. Because they never told me. It didn't even make sense to me that Love was doing stuff until you started playing pool. Until you started playing pool.
Hey, look, at this point, don't dry snitch, don't wet snitch, don't even moist snitch, okay?
Right.
It was real.
For real?
It was real. Was that not the most realest shit you've ever had in your life, though?
I was like, are we serious right now? Is this what you're really doing?
Yes, real.
And I was like, oh my God. Like, you don't even understand how frightening that was for me. Because Love and I had a good, distant, respectful relationship. But that's when I didn't like him. I didn't like him. Because that wasn't who you are. Like, why are you involving him in this? The pool cue was beautiful, by the way. Wish you'd kept it.
Yeah, but I want to be clear, because we are talking to 8 billion people. We ain't talking about nothing that was illegal. It's just some.
No.
Yeah, it's just you move a different way. Well, they don't understand. That's what I'm saying. They don't understand that we move a different way. That's different.
Yeah, we lived Monday to Saturday. Some of us. And Monday to Saturday was like 9 to about 8 or 9.
Depending upon if you got your quota.
Right. Sometimes it was 10. Sometimes it was 12.
Sometimes it was 2.
Sometimes
4.
Right. Sometimes. Right. It could be any of that. That was those of us who were on the regular crew. You were on a whole different time schedule. If I saw you in a day, I was doing good. You know, there were days I didn't see you.
Yep.
I was married to you. And there were days I did not see you. Yeah, let that sink in.
Yeah, I am. I'm grabbing my Buddha right now in my hand.
Right, like so.
We've never had this conversation before. That's why people don't understand. Like, this is our first time ever talking about this. That's why I was like, we got to record it. Period.
Hold on. Did the medicine help? Okay. Can you drink some water? Okay. I got to call and make the appointment once this. I'm talking to Fred. So I have a love-hate relationship with Chapel Sales. Because it gave me a skill that I didn't know I needed. But it took from me the very thing I went there to get. It took you from me. So we couldn't lay the beginning of our relationship the way that other newlyweds could. And it's not like we got married the day before you enlisted, because that was, we understood that. I could have, understood that. You're going away to boot camp. You're going to go get housing straight, and I'm going to come on. No. This was different.
Yeah, and that's why I want to get back into a few more things, because I'm starting to see how this is, from my viewpoint, the solution that the world is looking for. And the reason why I say it like that is because you caught me.
Okay.
Because you caught Tyler.
Okay.
Which means that we caught this generation that's struggling right now with suicides.
Okay.
Which means that we just saved our future.
Right.
Yeah, like that. Because you have a next level energy that I had to spend all my other lifetime, which is now, doing. You know, I get bored from playing golf every single day. You know, I'd be hanging out at the country club, still looking and kind of laughing because people think that I'm dumb. You know, but I just sit here and scaled up 7 businesses from 0 to a few hundred million. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
right.
Y'all think that I'm just, you know, but yet I dunk on them when I got a custom Shelby that's like, you know, it says 55, but it's like in the world, you know, and they're trying to swap out their Rolls Royce notes with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I didn't have that at first. And I have endless stories now, more than anybody on the fucking planet. And the reasons why I say it like that is because a lot of people on that lane know me too.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, because you single-handedly were able to have this thing, this space on you.
Again, it comes from support. It comes from what was given to me before I met you. Now, things that happened subsequent to, and all the other changes and things that I went through afterwards.
So guess who's texting me right now in real time? You can't make this up.
Who?
Teresa
Who?
Goss. I saw the number come in. I didn't know who it was, and I was just like, "Who is this?" And she hit me back, and I said, "Please hit me back right now. We're live."
Funny.
She's literally texting me right now. She said,
hilarious. Hilarious.
No, I'm telling you, like this is
no,
real.
I mean, like it's serendipity.
Matter of fact, let me see if I can.
I don't do coincidences.
In fact, hold on. Let me see if I can call her back. Let me see if this is her. I'm hoping that this is the right number. Hold on. I'm gonna put you on.
Hey, Fred.
Hey, does T go?
Well, 1 second. Let me see where you at. Isaiah, you there? Yes, well.
Hey, who's this?
I got Fred on the phone. This is Lim Gray from United Success Network and the CEO of United Success Network, Charles Morgan.
Okay, hold on for a second. Let me get.
Isaiah, you there?
Yes, yeah. Let me get my partner involved with this, because, like I said, we're live recording live. So if you don't want me to record you live, let me know, and I'll have to call you back. But this kind of ties into what I was just talking about live. So if you're open to having a real conversation, I have the real part of my equation as to who made me I am today, my ex-wife on the other line. So we were going live right now to talk about this, to push it out to our black communities, simply because nobody's speaking like us. And she comes from the lane that you guys are. She literally sacrificed her life just so that she could learn how I'm moving from the streets. So this is our first time ever talking about it on the planet, and you guys couldn't have been spending more time to just, even if you want to just jump in and give us insight, we can talk about the other stuff later. I'm cool with that.
Okay, no problem. I'm just driving. I just got to pull over and get off the road.
Okay, I'm going to merge this now. Hey, Missy. Hey, Missy.
Yeah.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to get these other guys on the line. I think I might have just accidentally bumped them off, but these are our elders.
Okay.
So I mean, like the older black royalty, and this is the first time, right? So that's what I'm saying. So they're part of that whole movement that I'm a part of too, and I let them know, hey, this is the first time me and my wife talking about it. She's helped me, with the stuff we got going on, So hold on. I think I lost him.
Little and off.
Please leave your message
Hey,
for.
so we'll just. So let me. I'll talk to them later. Let me call you right back. Yeah. So that's what happens when the universe comes in. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've got this whole thing going on right now with Missy, but you guys are hearing in real time all of the stuff that goes on in my life. So there's a lot of synchronicity. Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll call me back when they're ready. That he said he's going to pull over. But yeah, so they are part of an older. Well, anyway, that wasn't Teresa. That was actually another call who was Lim, and they're on some next level stuff as far as the opportunity for everybody. It's not just black people, but the reality of it is the story and the struggle that you were just talking about is the reasons why I'm working with these guys single-handedly. And I bumped into them and I broke their stuff. So that was the owner of the company calling me to figure out what happened so that we can make it smoother for people.
Well, right. And that's one thing that I have, I'll say, stayed true to since we were on the road. And that is working with as much in as much control as I have with either small companies, but especially small black companies. It makes a huge difference in my identity. It makes a huge difference in how I navigate in the world. Whether there is intercultural discord or not, I still want to work and intend to work in those spaces and work with, small businesses, like small black businesses, and understand why there's a hustle, understand, how the system works, how it affects people, and whatever I can do to help build up our folks. That responsibility is huge.
Well, it's beyond that in my mind. It literally is my duty at this point in time.
Right.
I don't know anybody else who has my story like this.
Well, nobody else, because thank God there's only one Dirk.
No, there are more behind us. That's what I'm telling you.
No, that's not what I'm saying. There may be a whole bunch of other Frederick J. Smiths out there, but there's only one you.
Yeah, but this story is so unbelievable. That's why I had told you, I have to record this stuff now. I'm like, really? It surprises me that I've done that much, and I just keep hearing so many stories. It's like endless story after story right now, Missy. That's what I'm telling you. So, I got so many lanes open right now. That's why you have to help me out with this, because I am just continuing the dot connecting for us now at this point in time in our life so that we can usher in people, not just black people now, because I've ran across the whole communication lane. I've played in multinational companies. I've scaled up all of these companies from 0 to a few hundred million. This is all on record. I still have those people I talk to. But what I'm saying, though, is just that literally from the streets, the whole world just heard you right now talk me up about what you saw. And this is the first time we've ever talked about it in our whole effing life. Are you kidding me right now? This is huge. Because
we didn't talk. I mean, we talked about a lot of things. Don't let the world get it twisted. We talked about a lot of things. Whether it was child rearing, whether it was, who has the best tuna sandwich, what kind of bread is better. We talked about a lot of things. But with time and different circumstances, we can literally see how differently each of us lived. You have always been the person that had drive, and no access. I had access and some drive. You know what I'm saying? But I was just kind of motivated. You were driven from a different space.
What do you think that space was? Because I've never known. You're pretty observant. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but literally, what do you think that space is?
That space, and I want to say it from my recollection, it comes from trauma. Because you had something to prove. You really, really had something to prove to your family, your immediate family. You had something to prove then. Because I remember the stories you told me around that. Some of it went over my head. Some of it didn't. I remember stories from Aunt Fawn. I remember all kinds of stories. And it just didn't make any sense to me that you, out of everybody, was like, skip this. I ain't doing this. I don't care. And then you were modeling. Oh, that was fun. Yeah, that was an interesting stint. And that was the other part about you that made you, like, attractive. Because you were by no means skinny. The only time you were skinny is when you came out of boot camp. You were by no means skinny. But you loved you some Fred. You were not going to go out looking just any old kind of way. You know, you weren't, like, your personal hygiene. I was like, wow. I've never seen a dude do that. Like, trust and believe. I had never seen a man that was that meticulous. I was like,
I tell people that. They think I'm joking. I'm like, I'm living a different way right now, but I can go back to that. They don't understand because that was destroying me. So I had to slow down because that was destroying me. And you're right. It's just like I was just traumatized beyond birth. It was just like it's hard to and you know, I'm really good at words, and I struggle with even before I was born feeling that way.
Well, right, and because you had a best friend,
right,
who was even more meticulous than you.
Not really. No, I refuse to believe that one, but go on.
Okay. But when I met him, everything made sense. No, he wasn't more meticulous. He was louder.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Right. He was louder than you. He wasn't more meticulous, and I was just like, there are two of you? Are we serious? I have to be friends with both of you? There's another one? Oh, my God. But I get it. Now it makes sense. And you were one of the first people I knew in life that was what we call now as an ally. Because you were like, yeah, so what? He gay, and he's still my best friend.
Oh, my God, you're right. Wow. Right. I never thought about that.
I remember.
Oh my God, oh wow. And then that's why, now that makes sense why Tyler says that we recognize, we see you.
Absolutely.
What? What kind of conversation are we having right now? What kind of conversation are we having right now?
Absolutely, because a lot of the things back then that you were doing, as far as modeling and personal hygiene, would have been considered gay. Not Metro, because you were extra. Would have been considered, right. You were definitely extra. Would have been considered gay, but you weren't. So it's like, he's definitely not gay. Don't ask me. I'll tell you he's not. I know. I've seen him around men. I know what he does to my body. No. Just, you're not right. But that understanding, that acceptance, because you easily accepted him.
Yeah.
And you were like, and you were like, yeah, some people just don't get it. People in my family don't understand. They just questioning me, but that's my dog. And I was like,
that's exactly right. Oh my God, Missy, wow.
Right, like, because it didn't go over my head, but I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about his sexuality, like it wasn't a thing to me.
Right.
And I didn't think about yours per se, but when you look at how people frame things, and because you hang out with him and they want to make assumptions about birds of a feather. And I was like, nigga ain't gay. That one over there might be gay, but this one right here ain't.
I'm dead right now. Because I never thought of this shit. This is totally amazing right now. Are you kidding me? Wow. Because I didn't. I don't care. And I tell people that to this day. I'm like, I don't understand what part of I don't care you guys don't understand. Like, I legitimately don't care. And here she is co-signing.
What's the name of the skinny white girl?
Which
that
one?
was in the Marine Corps?
Oh, Heather.
Heather. Heather was another one. I don't care. Heather was another one. And I was like, what? Huh? You're like, no, don't even worry. She has her own complete other thing going on. We're just cool. And I was like, yeah, sure, because she's kind of, no. And you had to keep reassuring me about Heather, because Heather, to me, was a little too touchy for her not to be interested in you, whether it was conscious or subconscious. You were like, no, she's who she is.
Yeah, because she was, no, I think, we can talk about that offline, but legitimately, no.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that legitimately there was nothing there, and you were consistently put in spaces where you just accepted people.
Oh, that is brilliant what you just said, because that's exactly right. I just create the space. Like, I don't care. Like, you need space.
And even on the crew, because we know.
Oh, yeah.
That there were people who lied, people who were out, people who were bi. You know what I'm saying? Like, people was doing people. And it was like, okay, here we go. And people just had names. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, because this was before the time of pronouns, but with you, it was just they were a person.
Yeah.
What
I still that's what confused. But that's what real time, like, it confuses a lot of people, because I'm just like, look, I get it. That's cool. Like, I don't even care. But the problem that I keep telling people, and this is what I've been saying for like the last 2 months now, since it's November 1st, but of 1:51 p.m. at 2021. I literally have to timestamp things just these days, Missy, because my mind just goes so far, so fast. Like, legitimately, they should be used as possible breadcrumbs to discover the source of that person. That's really how I look at it now. Because, see, I can confidently say that because of what you just validated for me. Like, I totally forgot. Like, I don't care. And then you're painting...
No. Like, you literally don't. And that was something that I had to work through, because it didn't make any sense to me. Because for me, I was socialized differently.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that I don't care, but I was socialized to care.
Right. Well, what I'm saying, though, is just that the power of this call is so immense, because literally I have the frameworks. Like, you watch me put it together. You watch how I move through life. You had a chance to see the other side of how I think, because we were close. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can see,
right. And you're different. And I've yet to meet anybody, thank God, despite the fact that I may have tried, and you would know that, to meet anybody. I mean, this would come down to birthdays and middle names and a whole bunch of other shit. Don't blame me. I've yet to find anyone who is you. You are irreplaceable. Like, you are an individual on some whole nother next level shit, as you like to say.
Well, that's what we're gonna unpack together. That's what makes this so fun. It really does, because there's enough for everybody to eat on this planet. That's my ultimate outcome from all this trauma. It's like, look, ladies and gentlemen, there's enough shit for everybody to eat. Like, who wants to go first? Like legitimately, because there's different lines to the buffet, and I've had a chance to experience the entire buffet. And actually, when you really look at it, in half the time, because I'm 48, so 24 years in 24 years, almost 50-50. I'm not even kidding. Think about that for a second. The pause for me was the Marine Corps. And then I got the professional training to put me to where I'm at right now. And I've done that for over 20 years. So
Right.
I'm literally at the 50-yard line of my life, per se. And
Right.
I've experienced almost equally both. That's why I can say this with total confidence, because you nailed it all the way back down to trauma. You know, that's womb shit, even before that, right? So
Right.
I have literally experienced this all of my life. Like me.
Absolutely.
And I'm aware of it, and I can explain it because I can see it, because it's just what it is to me. So that's why I can say with confidence that those are just breadcrumbs, because somebody else is saying that they're different and they really need to be seen right now. And that's all I've ever seen it as. I wasn't able to possibly explain it like that. And that's one of the reasons why even right now in the direct marketing industry, people fucking know me. I can't even begin to tell. I know. I have a call tomorrow with my boy Matt Fury. You don't know who he is. But you go to type Zen Master of the Internet and his name pops up. It's some pretty dope shit. Right? So I have always been attracted to communication and languaging and syntax and everything else, because that is life. Like, period. Like, I don't understand anything else, because if you don't get these words right, because they do manifest things. And they create all these different other lanes that we may not want to have in our life. All because we said words the wrong way. Or one word has 27 different definitions, and I got to go into 27 different lanes. So that's really almost like Tyler is our anchor.
Yep.
She literally holds us all on the edge.
Right.
To prevent from pulling and ripping. But we can create, though. We can do dope shit. There's alchemy involved in what we're talking about. We're talking about pure energy. And just like any cell that goes to multiply and then divide and then they get exponential and they ultimately create a form that we call a baby. Right? But it's all of these little small micro agreements to when we go to split a cell, here's the new rules. So I almost feel like we're like that right now in our state of consciousness. Like I've said it from the very beginning when I jumped out them goddamn planes. I said, look, and 2020 hit. It was a big ass pause for me. I loved it because the whole world reset. The whole world reset. And I'm literally coaching 2,200 people through that part.
Right.
I mean, it's endless. And I'm just like, wait. We can do more shit. We're just getting started. But think about what I'm talking about, the magnitude of consciousness that just comes from the agreement of one cell splitting. Before it goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, it starts going geometric that way. There has to be a standard that's for that cell to go, oh, okay, I don't mind doubling. I don't mind tripling. I don't mind becoming limitless. Because we truly are limitless. That's what I always have said. But I'm able to accurately explain it because I've lived my life this way all my life. Are you kidding me right now? This doesn't even sound real.
Well, but it is.
That's what I'm saying. I literally am reality marketing. So I can say something with authority because I've done it a lot. Like, what are we talking about right now? Seriously, it just went to a whole different direction. Because I'm calling you asking for help with that generation. You've seen the other side of how I think. You came from royalty. You came from royalty and practically picked up dog shit with me. Like I'm doing right now again in my life. Physically. I have a kennel. I'm picking up dog shit.
See, why did we have to go there?
What do you mean?
Why did you have to go there and say you was literally picking up poop?
Because I am? I'm lost.
It was a joke. I caught it.
Okay.
I caught the entire thing. I think that in reaching this generation of young people, there's an assumption that I made, and it was a mistake. And I've said this over and over and over again. There is an assumption that I made that does young people a disservice. And that is that they comprehend the access.
Something that I didn't.
Right. They Like, you can give somebody access. It doesn't mean they know how to use it, nor do they use it effectively or efficiently. Think about going into in the service. We all start off with the same basic training. But in order for each of us to be effective in our respective jobs, we have to go on to specific training and learn how to understand certain things a certain kind of way. These young people don't have that. What they have is they are inundated with just access. And they are inundated with words and inundated with images and inundated with all this stuff. We don't look at the internet the same way that they do. We look at it as a tool. We can put that shit down anytime. We don't need it the way they do. Because we learned how to read books, and then we learned how to research books, and we learned to comprehend. Somewhere along the line, they stopped teaching you how to comprehend, how to sift through. And this is overall. And then we, as this generation, were like, yeah, it's okay. They'll catch it. Human development doesn't work like that. So this generation is expecting things to be the same speed as what they see. We didn't expect that. We knew you had to work. We knew that you get on a bicycle, you got to keep riding it before it works. You don't just get on a bike and it goes. This generation is not making the connection between getting on the bike and the bike going and using your legs.
And I just gave that example. You didn't even watch what me and Krystylle Richardson did yesterday. I gave the exact same bike example. This is synchronicity. What you're saying at its highest level,
right?
Because
right.
what you just said literally is the key.
Right. So if you don't understand that you actually have to put the work in, and what you define as work and what has been defined as work has shifted from absolute labor to being in front of a computer and making videos, which it takes more, it takes a knack. It's not a highly skilled situation. Okay. Why would you think you would have to work at anything? Because what you see, that how people are working, they aren't doing anything. They are sitting, they are standing, they are dancing for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You don't see the rehearsals. You don't see the outtakes. You don't see the work. What you see is the end result. Now, we know, because we came from a different generation. We used to get catalogs, like paper, huge. And in those catalogs, they gave us pictures of things. And we didn't even know if we was going to get there. We was praying.
Yeah, that's real. That's why I love direct mail so much. Like, I love that shit.
Right. So, you would have the pictures, and then you would make your payments. And then once you made your payments, you get your product.
Do you remember the first thing? I ever bought? You don't have to. It was literally the Hume publication. And
oh my God! Wow!
Right. It gets even better. The guy who actually wrote the materials for me to buy it, his name is Gary Benson Vega. He's literally considered one of the world's best living copywriters right now, like on the planet. He's the first card swipe I ever did in my life.
That's hilarious.
And people tell me that my copywriting's insane. I'm just like, what do you mean? I don't understand. They're like, no, you're on the fucking spectrum some goddamn where. And I'm just like, yeah, well, I don't know how else to think. Like, I did whatever it took because I just kept seeing all of that shit. I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking buy it. I got an American Express card before I was even supposed to.
Oh, child, like don't give Fred another American Express.
Too late. Too late. I have one unlimited.
Fred, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. What did you buy yourself? A Movado? Excuse me?
You remember the Movado?
Do you know to this? I bought my first Movado for myself like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I told Tyler, I said, but the next time I see Fred, I'm going to throw this thing in his face because I didn't get a Movado or a leather jacket that year. But he went out and bought himself a Movado and a leather jacket. So now I have 3 Movados to my name. Thank you, Fred. And a couple of leather jackets. Thank you, Fred. Because I'm still fucking competitive. Thank you.
That's why you got so mad when I got published first.
Oh, I was heated in a motherfucker. I was like, how you get published before me? Nigga, everyone for me writing. What?
People don't understand they don't understand that you molded a lot of who I am today. It's just seriously call it for what it is. Because you had the higher level knowledge and the information, and you still cared about me and loved me enough to just really nurture me. I mean, that's really how I see it now. You know, it's really a big deal because it caused me to get inspired to do all of this stuff. Like, that's the reasons why we've got to do this together. Like, I can't run the game exposed without you on this level. You know what I'm saying? We got a team.
Well, I mean,
they're ready to rock. We just got to just talk to people. But because people don't understand, like, seriously, I'm going to keep cutting you off, but this is so critical right now. Literally, our children are getting ripped apart at the seams because of even how I thought when I got a catalog. That's what I just heard right now. You know, right. I wanted it. I did my best to get it, you know, and then people are failing. They're trying to get it, and people do some strange things for change to get it. You know, I'm just like, no, I just want to get it,
Absolutely.
Right? Right.
Absolutely.
So, you know, all these lanes are just coming because of, I want to say insignificance. Like, we feel like we're insignificant.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's like, no, like you are you. We are limitless. But right now, that construct is still out there ripping kids apart at the seams because of how fast technology is. And I love technology.
Right.
It's helping us out. So, you know, it's a beautiful thing, but it goes back into that whole thing when I'm talking about those two cells splitting. They've got to get into agreement. Like, does this make sense?
Right. And for young people, again, for young people now, it doesn't make sense because they've been raised by a generation of you know, Gen X who gave them almost absolute access because we didn't have, you know, we didn't have, not that we didn't have access, we literally just didn't have it. So we were learning about access and learning about technology with them. So we didn't have a base to say, you don't know this. What do you mean you don't know this?
Yeah.
What do you mean? This don't make no sense.
Yeah.
How come because when we went to school, we learned coding. We learned programming. Like, we learned how computers work. So we can look at a computer and go, okay, there's some dumb stuff. I'll come back. I'm not that pressed.
Yep.
Or I'll use a different device.
You watched me do it. I did it with computer science class there at Loyola. I did it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, we'll use a different device. These ones are down, so we'll go across campus and go use other ones. Or the dial-up was down over here. I can't do it. You know, but they don't understand the steps, quite literally, that you took, that I took, in order to get access. Because you walked across campus. I walked across campus. It's a lot of steps.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? And without the assumption that things were going to work. We had hope. We didn't assume that, you know, it was going to be on because we knew better. We like, okay, we hope it's on. And then if not, we'd be like, who got it in their room?
Mm-hmm. That's fact.
Right. Who's got it in their room that would let me print out this paper or let me save it on this floppy, you know, because everybody didn't have. Now the assumption is from the school system to the store is that everybody has, and everybody still doesn't. So if you assume that everybody has, you assume that everybody knows how to use and maximize what they have. And that's a lie.
Do you realize that we literally have a star child?
Uh-huh. She's more like an indigo, but that's okay.
Well, she isn't. I'm saying, yeah, that's what they call the generation. Indigo.
Yeah. Indigo kid, yeah. But I knew that. I knew she was going to be different. I knew that she was going to be the best of us. I knew that she was going to push my fucking buttons. I knew that she was going to be different. I didn't know what that different was going to look like. And I am grateful that she had enough courage to not fall into the trap of working to fulfill a quote-unquote family legacy on my side, which was, go to college, do this, do that. Because the real reason why she went to college was to please my mom. Had nothing to do with me. She didn't really want to go to college. She wanted to please my mother. She wanted, she was missing my mother and doing all that. So, is she creative? Absolutely. Is she an artist? Absolutely. She even wanted to do nails since she was like 5, 6. She had a different passion. She liked science. But because of my mother being an artist, my mother, passing away, that sort of ate her up. And now she's moved from under some of that grief back into her own person. Because that's the one thing I can say about me, and one thing I will continue to tell the girls, is that I ain't go to college because my mama said so. I picked the college I wanted to go to, and I picked my major because that's what I wanted to do. I ain't give a damn. Most of that was my money that I was spending. If I'm going to spend my money on it, mine, I'm going to do what I want.
That's real. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Does my family have high fucking standards? Absolutely. We have masters and PhDs and all that, but on my daddy's side, and I only got one cousin that's got a master's, like out of all of us. Half of them suckers ain't graduated from college. They still doing all right. So when I took my kids to Chicago, took the girls to Chicago, they got to see how we move, not how we live. In D.C., in Northern Virginia, you know what I'm saying? That's how we live. But when I took them to Chicago, it's how we move. And they were like, they move different. It's black. And I was like, yep. They kept saying, Mommy, there's no white people. I know. They just relaxed into, and they didn't understand why there was a natural trust. Like, I'm leaving you with these people. They were like, what? And I was like, that's your uncle, your aunt, your cousin. I ain't worried about that. Ain't nothing gonna happen. I'm good. And they know I would never do that if I was in Tappahannock. I would always have to be with them or be around them.
I'm gonna see if I can do this right now. I said I'm gonna see if I can do this right now because I know he was trying to reach out to us. And guess where he's from? He's from that area. Let me see if I can get him real quick. I'm sorry, I mean cut you out. I just want to see. I want to get this. Try to get a hold of Lem.
Hello.
Hey, is it Lem?
Fred Smith, how you doing?
Good. I was still in the middle of my live. I really wanted to bring you on, though. Even if we don't talk about business, man, I know that you bring such value to this conversation. It would be honored. I'd be honored if you seriously just stepped in right now, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, Missy.
Yeah?
I wanted to introduce you to Lem. Say hi, Lem.
Hi, Lem.
Hi, Missy.
Yeah, so
How are you?
I'm sorry.
I was about to say, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
And the reasons why I have both of y'all here is because I just met Lem. He's with the United Success Network, and he has some of the most amazing technology that goes down in the lane of helping people get to prosperity. And Missy Lem is my first of many ex-wives. And right.
That's good. She sounds happy.
That was good. I like him.
Do you see how brilliant this conversation already is? Like, we can still be in our spaces.
Yes.
I like him. He's funny.
Yeah. I got somebody from Auburn Hills, Michigan. Should I pick that up, Lim? I don't think so. Just somebody keeps calling back. But
you can call it back. I don't know anybody from.
Okay, cool.
From Auburn Hills.
Okay, no worries.
Auburn Hill, Michigan, but there's nobody that I think of.
Okay, I'll just.
You want me to get my partner on the phone and see if I can grab him again or not?
Can I get a little bit, just a few more seconds with you first?
Sure.
Cool. So, literally, where are you from again, Lim?
I'm right now. I'm in Canada. I'm in Windsor, Ontario. I live in Windsor, Ontario, and also live in Michigan in Sterling Heights. So I got two houses, and I go back and forth because when I was a young man, I chased a woman, fell in love, got married. Been married 47 years, and my kids are in Sterling Heights, and all my other stuff is in Michigan. I grew up in Michigan, basically. I was born in a little town called East St. Louis, Illinois. Moved to Michigan, stayed over there.
Wow.
And then, you know how it is when you're chasing women, and they actually let you catch them. So I got caught, and I've been married 47 years, and it's the best thing in my life.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that was the CEO of United Success Network, Lim. He's saying, yeah, we got disconnected, but I wanted to keep. I'll just say, okay, we'll call you here and let him know, because literally the significance of what we were talking about was how people move differently. Especially like because right now we're having a problem with kids killing themselves. So
yeah, I know.
Right. So she's watched me. She's watched me literally run the whole gambit of life. Like, she's watched me play at the top of the military doing what I was doing, all the way down to being in the streets with the door-to-door salespeople, doing that stuff. So that's why we're coming out like this, because, there's a lot of kids who don't understand the dynamics, and I want to stop it. So I saw my daughter, and she's like her mom. And I'm like, wait, people are already telling me that I literally have done everything in life. And here's my other beautiful daughter of my DNA being nurtured by you, and she's okay. So that tells me that my wife of the first hand literally cracked the code of how we can wrap our arms around this generation that's killing themselves.
Interesting.
Well, here's how.
Yes.
Well, here's how. Because everybody, I know you just now know me, Lim, but literally everybody who meets me goes on to either make millions or billions, like facts. Or they'll go the other way and they'll be super earthy and dense people, meaning that they have a soul about themselves. So what we were just talking about before we got you on the phone was literally me and my history, because I know you don't know a lot about me, but I'm literally rocking with the world's top copywriters in the world, the world's top sales and marketing people in the world. I literally helped rewrite Kia University's curriculum with 22 other people, and it affected 22,000 people at a minimum. So I'm coming out of that stint, and I'm 48 right now. Literally half my life has been spent living it, from the labor side. And the other half of my life has been spent from the royalty side of things. She comes from the royalty side and came down to meet me from the streets and then built me up. So there's a cycle here. There's a pattern here that we were uncovering while you were calling. That's why I say it with such confidence.
Oh, wow. Because
we're both educators. We're both facilitators. We both have experiential learnings, and we're highly articulate.
That's very good. Gives you a lot to work with when you understand where you're going and where you've been from and how you do it. So yeah, sounds like you guys got it going on, which is good.
Well, your timing is impeccable, because we were supposed to pick up on a conversation of how United Success Network, we were going to work through that, and I wanted to introduce you to as many people as I could in our very first phone call, like a panel, because I want them to hear the amazing story that me and you had last time, and that's why I wanted to get the CEO of United Success Network on, but he'd have to understand I am going live right now. Like, this is being recorded, like this is going to go out.
That's he don't have a problem with that. We do this stuff all the time.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna call him right now, cold, and I'm gonna add him.
Because why don't you add him?
Okay, do it right now. So you have to be courteous when you're making these kinds of calls, because they're so fresh. Hello, we're all here. We're all live. Sorry you dropped out. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you, first?
I am, as a result of you guys blessing us, I'm truly blessed and highly favored, and I'm not saying that very lightly because I've been talking for almost 2 hours in front of 8 billion people. So welcome to the party.
Yes, welcome.
So Lim, I'm leaning on you right now, sir, as far as like, you know, and what is your name, sir? For I know you said CEO.
Well, let me introduce you. This is Isaiah Morgan, the CEO of our United States Network. This is Fred Williams and his beautiful first wife, Moni.
No, it's he calls me Missy, but my name is Lavinia. Yeah, but my name is Lavinia Jackson. Yeah.
Okay. How you doing, Lavinia Jackson?
I am well. And I am grateful to be on the call and to just witness this conversation. It's been beautiful.
Good. I think when you said Lavinia Jackson, do I know you? I've because I've got a friend that's in the LA area that's an insurance person there. It's a few different companies or whatever. Is that you?
No, I do not do insurance. No. I'm a poet and an author.
Okay.
So that's kind of ironic that you know somebody with my name. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, yes, I do. I know somebody with that name. And they're in California. If I'm not mistaken, you've got a Californian accent.
I haven't been to LA or California in over 20 years. I'm living in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had got.
Don't sound like McGreensboro people, but we'll
that's because I'm traveled. I ain't been here but 13 years. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were literally talking about suicide with kids, and I'm seeing that in mass now in my immediate reality, and you know there are too many people around here who are suffering as a result of it. And then we just went into my lineage, my history, and then you know all the experiences that we're seeing. And we want to stop that, but she had astutely discovered something because my daughter is an indigo child. That's what they're officially quote unquote labeled, just to have some type of nomenclature so that we can start seeing what this challenge is, right? So I am very well known in a lot of different lanes, but I'm hidden in plain sight kind of guy. I walk up, I fix things, and then I go do something else. So we've talked about everything from the LGBTQIA plus community all the way down to black royalty and every lane in between, you know, partying with thugs and they're cheering behind me while she's picking up the phone and she's hearing this, all the way down to me being married to her and us not in the same bed. But all of these things and all of these dynamics affect our kids because at the end of the day, they're carrying parts of our traits and our personalities. But yet she's been able to still even create space for my child and her other children in that same house and still nurture them and keep them relatively hermetically sealed until they start making their own decisions. So we're working in real time to not just crack the code for suicidal kids, but also the prosperity lane too, because she always said that I had how did you say it again? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Which part?
I had access. Oh, you had access, but I didn't.
Oh, what I said was that he had passion or a drive, but didn't have access. I had access, but I wasn't anywhere near as motivated. And the difference between him and I had to do with the foundation and the support. Because without support, like I told him before, you have to hustle. Your hustle is different.
Right. I heard somebody go wow in the background. Exactly. This is brilliant.
It's just that simple. I had to learn how to hustle, and I had to take myself out of the castle, for lack of a better metaphor. I had to learn how to be that kind of hungry. That's not a part of my experience. He came from that hunger. So when you come from that, as cliche as it may sound, it's definitely a driving force. That trauma is a driving force. Good, bad, and different. It's a trauma response. What do we do with young people who don't understand that they are living in trauma, and everything they are being shown quite literally is escapism? What do we do with that? Because they're looking for immediate answers because they grew up on technology. They're looking for no work because they don't see anybody working. They don't see anybody doing the work that we understand. They don't see that. So they'll have suicidal ideation because they weren't given tools to be able to handle the access.
Until now, and that's what we're working on, and that's when you guys had called. So that's why this conversation is brilliant.
You know, I work with a lot of young people. Most of them happen to be in their 20s now, and I've worked with a lot of them since I've been in Greensboro. And these are all college students or post-college students. And that real world smack you in the face is nothing they anticipated. Nothing. Like they thought life was going to be like it was in college, or life was going to be like this, or life was going to be like that. They quite literally were not prepared to go out here and hustle, to grind, to go find a job, to actually go to work, to be able to be articulate, to communicate and to convey their needs, to communicate and convey their fears, or understanding that, you know, everybody got mental issues. Everybody got anxiety. It don't mean you don't need to get up and go to work next day. I'm just saying. Like, it's they don't understand that just because we didn't have a language for anxiety or PTSD, most of us have lived with it and found different mechanisms to cope and to be prosperous.
And that's where you guys come in, and that's what inspired me to get a hold of Money Be Money when I got on Telegram, and then that's how I bumped into you guys.
Okay.
So I wanted to understand a little bit more about what you were offering, because again, we can get the technology right and stuff like that, but I love the story and how we got into these brilliant conversations.
I was going to just go ahead and interject from my point of view that I actually had to go ahead and even tell my wife to do a detox on social media because social media is really influencing them upon a lifestyle that the reality of most teens, they will probably never experience unless they do have some hustle or be creative out here, or, you know, really apply themselves and gain some knowledge or a skill set that can get them into a different financial status. And I had to actually tell my wife, because she was looking at all these friends or even people that she just is following that she either has never directly encountered or even know. And she's comparing our lifestyle to their lifestyle, saying, oh, why can't we go on more vacations? Why can't we do this and why can't we do that? And I'm like, hold up. We're doing just fine. You know, we are very comfortable, completely out of debt. And, yeah, we travel, but we don't travel as much as all these other people that are millionaires travel. But we're very content. We got a good household. Our family is secure. And I had to just tell them, like, you got to calm down. This is a lot of the stuff that they are posting. It's not even a real lifestyle. And they're just making it all so fabulous for the viewers that it has a lot of people just keeping up with the Joneses, as I will say. And
right.
When I really had to do a detox, I mean, I really never been a social media person, even though I have my own social network now. But the content, even with Facebook being scrutinized now, it's really creating some mental issues, and especially the younger people, because they're into the technology age where they want to be the freshest person, or they want to drive these new fancy cars and all this other virtual lifestyle. But they're coming from impoverished beginnings, and it's been hereditary passed down. And that's why when it comes to just that whole aspect of what the mass media is putting out there, even in the music and everything, it's a different era that they're living in, and they have to, at some point, realize what is being fed media-wise and wake up from that reality. And that's why it has pushed me into the point of creating a clean type of environment that is more so built on setting a blueprint about, and it's not about fun and fashion, it's about having a unified mindset to understand and recognize what the problems are and to now get to the solutions. Because we can talk about problems all day, but
Absolutely.
I want to get to solutions, and I see indirectly that once we recognize what is going on, that we are our own solution. And
right.
Thanks for being on this platform.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, like, that was beautifully put. Beautifully put. Because at the end of the day, we don't control the social media. We don't control the content. We control what we put out to a degree. And if you don't understand that it's crafted and intentional the way most people use social media, then you make yourself, young people will make themselves sick, trying to catch up with everybody else.
Yes. And the social media is controlled by a few different people, just a few markets, and whatever they put out is what we seem to believe instead of going back to our ancestry and actually learning what went on in life or what's going on in life. But, there's a couple generations have sort of done things that wasn't really necessary or didn't do what they should be, and some of us end up playing the same thing. Because I remember when the 60s came around and everybody went, because you guys are a little young, because I'm 68. When the 60s came along, everybody started changing everything and doing everything. And all at once you had 25 or 28-year-old mothers with babies and stuff, or 14 or 15-year-old mothers and babies. And the black men never seemed to stay around to do what we were taught, that everybody keep a family together and build together, or that type of thing. And so, we, and a part of United Success Networks, we have 4 core zones, which I'm going to get Isaiah to talk to you a little bit about what we do as far as trying to make our communities better. And that's, can you explain that to them, Isaiah?
Yeah, the 4 core zones is, I really tell people we're more than social media, more than just a community of cooperative economics. Our whole goal is basically based around our 4 core zones, which is education, because there's just so many people that, hey, if they don't know better, they can't do better, and we have to get it out there. The second one is community development, because there's so many things that are going on in our communities that could be much better if we were to have a unified mindset. And then when it comes down to cultural enrichment, we as a majority, and it's not just a black thing, white thing, whatever, it's just that so many different cultures have been divided, and especially here in America, we still haven't figured that out, how we have so many billionaires. Things are not just adding up to we have, own certain things that we should absolutely own. And then when it combined education, the community development, and the cultural enrichment, that's when it's going to kick in, that we actually start to have economic empowerment, where you have a great idea, I have a great idea, we now have the available resources, and now we just take care of them. And we take care of them one by one, or even at a multiple at a time, because we are, for one, unified. And that's where I actually have a book and ebook that I created. It's in the back office of our website that's called A United State of Mind. And that's what's really having the understanding about the people that you surround yourself with, the positive information that you fill your head with, to cut off that TV, pick up a book again, read it so you can actually absorb it the way how it's meant to be absorbed. And it's really about just really having a solidarity as a community to say, you know what, this is positive. This is what we should be doing, and we just need more pioneers that see the vision that we have written down clear and plain, and to now apply it. I always tell people, action plus success. Action plus knowledge equals success, and that's how we as a people can just really expand the whole mindset and create a generational blueprint to say, hey, this is what we have done as a small community. Now we can pass on to you, so now we can stop the killings, but because people are lacking. I mean, my wife has had suicidal thoughts because she just wanted to have more, and we have so much. And I said, babe, you have to realize and center yourself that, hey, we are way better than a lot of other people. And you can't keep up with social media and all these crazy thoughts, what is portrayed to us through the TVs and the news, the media and everything, because it's being controlled. Yeah. It's television programming. They program you to think a certain way, and if you absorb that, that's what is going to be in your mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
through your platform, because I'm gonna ask this question, is it that those within the community apply for grants? What does funding look like? And it's a curious question.
Yes, and if you got to understand the whole thing about crowdfunding, which is like one of the red hot trends right now, how people are generating capital for startups and all that. But what I've noticed, especially in a diverse urban community, we typically a lot of us don't support each other exactly how we could. I know even with when Barack Obama went up for president, he raised like a few $100 million off of. They said the average donation was like $15 to $25, and he raised that amongst just a lot of people. So the difference of our platform is that it's not like a GoFundMe or not the name calling them out there. It's more so as a collective where you sow a seed into somebody else's life, and this is collective as you help somebody else out, you receive support in yourself. But like I said, it's more than just that. That's just like a nip, like the tip of the iceberg where we're getting.
Oh no. I was more curious. I like what I'm hearing. I hear lots of the principles of Kwanzaa. I hear a lot of things that I find that are working well, and you hit something on the head. Because in my circles, in the creative community, in the arts community, we often see lack of support, not only on an individual level, but on the larger corporate, and these are all projects or programs that would, are community enriching. Mm-hmm. But they are finding it hard to leverage, and I don't know whether it's language, I don't know whether it's a platform, I don't know what that is. So that's part of what I do too, is to help folks find new ways to do what we've been doing in the first place.
That's right. Well, part of it is because the majority of the American market doesn't want us to do well, because we are the labor force of the world, and we're supposed to work for cheap or nothing. And so we're not given the same opportunities forever to gain what we can. Every now and then you see a few people be a little successful, but the majority of us, we just don't have that opportunity. Maybe because we're not teaching it. We don't teach it ourselves, because the only people that's going to bring us up is us. Nobody else will.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like this is all new to me, okay? Like legitimately, this is the reasons why I exist, because before you gentlemen came in, I'm like Switzerland. I fucks with no one, but everybody knows me. And when I say it like that, what I mean is I create space on a larger level so that people can come into what they call a safe space, so that we can really lay out our differences to see how we can connect dots. Because on one hand, I hear what you guys are saying, but on the other hand, the other crowd's thinking you just shit on me. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the disconnect is really coming in, because you've just made their jobs obsolete. They've just made your jobs obsolete. And it's just this endless, vicious cycle of bullshit. So I would rather just, honor everybody to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we needed this at one point in time, but now it just appears based on the data, because we have enough fucking data for everybody, to be like, hey, it looks like we all need to move in a different direction before we blow up this planet. Because I've had those kinds of conversations. So what we have to realize is that new levels, new devils 100% exists. What hasn't existed until now is a really sit down like this to be able to say, you know what? We've got some nice stuff for you. We don't need reparations. We don't need this. We don't need that. We just need you to swipe a card. Trust us. You'll love what's on the other side. And it still boils down to belief. And that's why when I was talking to B Money, I'm just like, bro, I said, I love the concept. It's a little clunky, but it's a great 1.0 because it's already built. I don't care about how it's coming out the gate. I'm begging to swipe my card and I'm unable to get access. That's why we're having this call right now. So your timing couldn't be more perfect, for you already have the vehicle built. So in my mind, you're much like the Henry Ford of individualism, because you're single-handedly giving people the opportunity to drive their own car for the first time in their life. The problem that I've always had was that the fact that I've always had this steering wheel, but nobody could ever keep up with me. So there's a lot of people in this lane who you guys haven't even met yet that I've already made connections with, and they're just waiting for you. But we have to be really super clear. New levels, new devils, and everybody needs to eat on this one because everybody's stuff still gets broken, and that's where we get this vicious cycle. Or do I sound really crazy right now?
No, you don't sound crazy.
You don't sound crazy. You're right on point with everything you just said because this for one has not been built overnight. This is actually over a decade.
Oh, I see it, bro. It's dope. I see it. Like I see you. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Whew. Wow.
It's really it's a blueprint that I put down. It's just right now. And I tell people I am not a marketing guy. You know, I just pray and just say, hey, God, lead me to the right people. And I've met a lot of different people. And my thing is I'm a technology guy. I build the technology. I got a direct download to build the system. I've done everything I can. And it's now about, it's not about what you know. It's about who you know in this day and age.
Right.
Where, Lem looked me up at you, and I said, you know what? I've been saying that for the last 5-6 months, and I said that's not my department. It's going to come to me, and when it comes to me, we will go ahead and connect, collaborate. It's going to be. I'm looking for that tsunami effect.
And here we are. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. We just today, the speed scaling crew today, we have tapes to prove this. I don't think anybody understands what's going on in the world right now. You have a whole bunch of seers who see the future coming together so that we can all build something and scale it out of love for the first time in human history. This is a really big deal. I don't take these conversations lightly at all at this point in time. So it's just been too many quote unquote coincidences, and it's translating like, when the hell is everybody going to wake up? The difference is I have played on so many lanes since this lady right here who you're talking to blessed me. She gave me the ideal scene for years. And the only reason that we did split up was because we were from two, like you said, we're literally on two separate pages. So when she does show up happy, you're like, oh shit, I'm surprised. And you're like, and I can hear it in your voice. You're like legit surprised. You're like, damn. Because I don't want to break people. I want to leave people better than how I found them. And I think if everybody understands that there is a code for that there is a way to do this very, very sanely and very gently and very nurturing. That's always been my challenge, guys, is finding guys like you bumping into me. So that's what really happened. My COO literally told me, because we had a conversation about ways. She literally said, Fred, I am going to kick your ass. She's a gunnery sergeant, okay? She's a former Marine just like me, and she outranks me on every single thing, 23 years, so it's dope. I don't care. And Missy's laughing because she was a puddle pirate, so she understands the rank. So,
anyway, let's not go there.
But okay, I digress. My bad. But legitimately, though, I honor you, and I really thank you for serving as well. And the reality of it is, though, we have all of these brilliant minds, and we just said, you know what? Let's just get together and just fix it. That's what we're doing. Like, let's just fix it, because nobody wants to feel invalidated. And again, like I said, I honor the technology side because I've been able to do some of the craziest shit on the planet. I have. It's fun. When Zuff started talking about Meta, I'm like, thank you, bro. I've been waiting for this. And then some people are going, well, that ain't going to work. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's got so much data that you will never, ever see. We broke his shit, and he lost $160 million an hour. I literally have people, when that went down, said, hey, Fred, did you just break Facebook? I have it on record. Like, this is real shit, guys. So whether it happened or not, this is all fiction because I'm also a fiction writer because I have to write like that now. But the reality of it is,
you're welcome.
Yeah, sometimes I can't stand you, but I love you. But legitimately though, guys, everything that I'm saying is 100% vetted, and everything that you're saying is 100% vetted. So like, this is a vetted conversation out the gate, which means that this is encrypted with love, honor, courage, commitment, ethics. I mean, everything. And all my network is exactly like that. This is it. Let me know if I'm crazy.
I'm grateful for the enthusiasm, and I probably only have about 10 more minutes left because I have to go to class. But what I'd like to see as one of the outcomes of this conversation not only is, an exchange of information, but some way for us to actually build. And I don't mean like...
It's done. It's already done.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's already done.
Right, so that's what I'm going to
I'm bringing you flowers. I'm bringing you flowers. It's already done. We're just waiting for you to bring the community. We're done. It's done. It's all done.
Okay.
It's literally all done.
So that's all I ask. And then we can continue these conversations, as time permits, and we can make it work.
100%. And when I tell you it's done, it's done. The streets are already vouched for me. So at least in LA, Eddie Washington's already vouched for me. He's us. He's a real dude. So we already have the tribe, the community, the connections, and all we were waiting for was a few more vehicles like, what you guys offer, and there are a few more that I'm just connecting as we're going along. But it's already done.
Okay. Well, if it's already done, I'm going to bid you guys adieu because I have to get ready for this class. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I am honored to be on board, and feel free to Google me. So you can see.
You've always wanted to say that. You've always wanted to say that.
No, I mean, so they can see that I'm the other Lavinia Jackson.
Lavinia Jackson. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Feel free to Google me, and feel free to reach out and exchange information. I look forward to whatever we do, because this is about the most positive conversation I've had with folks in a long time.
There's a lot of us out here. We just need to get all on the same page.
Absolutely.
And get to know each other.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Out here.
It's called a united state of mind.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well, go ahead and digress.
Everyone later.
Yep, we'll stay on.
Okay.
We're going to stay on Lemon. Yeah, we're going to stay on Lemon, Isaiah. Thank you.
Thanks, Missy. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.
Cool. So, gentlemen, this is a day in the life of me. Any thoughts so far?
I like what I hear. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. And I'm so thankful that you kept saying to be able to scale this out the way that you have. I really see you, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and what I was interested in, Fred, is what type of marketing can we do to get this thing up and running and get it moving?
We just did it.
You said you've done a lot of marketing and stuff.
We've just done it. In the last 2 hours and 12 minutes, because I've already secured IamReality.marketing, this is how I market. It should be a real-ass conversation and people experiencing that. That's why I was explicit as saying, hey, I need to record you guys. Because these kinds of conversations are so incredible that people think that they're scripted. And it's sick that we don't even think that we can believe anymore. That's where the true sickness comes from.
Yep.
So anybody who this touches will automatically be blessed because they've heard a real conversation for the first time in their life in most cases. How can you argue with this? Everything that you guys have done is vetted. It's been tested. She's always wanted to say, "Hey, Google me." That's why I started laughing, because she's watched me do all of this incredible stuff. So she wants to be like a little kid in Flickr. I'm like, that's cool, but you've brought a bigger gift to the table, which is you're stabilizing kids from killing themselves.
Yeah, right.
That means that you're catching us. And I've never been caught like that before.
That's right.
So that's how I just see it. And when you're coming from such a powerful belief system, there's no marketing in need. We just say we need $50. We need this, because it's not free. The way the game is played is that you have to swipe a card. That's why when B Money puts something in front of me, I don't question it. And that's why I admit it, guys. I got angry, but it was a love angry. It wasn't a negative angry. Like, oh my God, I want to fucking give him money. I can't swipe my damn card, and he has a deadline. It's like, you understand what I'm saying? Like when you attract this kind of person.
Yeah.
I mean, really. So the only thing that I'm going to add to this is taking this 2 hours and 15 minutes and however far we want to go, because it's totally up to you, because this is part of what I do. But legitimately, what I'm going to do after this is push it out to people who I know. But because we have such an in-depth conversation, I can advertise to this and not get the message wrong. So how would you think that we would fail at this? See, I
don't think we will. But I think that our push out is just basically so that everybody in America can actually get a chance to be what they want to be in life if they get the right direction and assistance. We got tons and tons of kids out there that don't know what to do, where to do it, and how to go about it. So we've got to get the message out there that there is something out there that they can do. There's something they can do, because there's no reason they should be running around with guns shooting each other for the fun of it.
Yeah. And that's how these conversations go. Like, the flow of this conversation, both organic marketing and paid marketing,
yes.
This is the flow. That's why I said this is legitimately a movement and it's a mission. So it's going to touch the right people at the right time in their lives, but I'm also going to be imposing my will, just like other marketers have, to just bang down the doors, except this is a real message. You know what I'm saying? It's not something like, hey, how would you like the 5 steps to wipe your ass, even if you haven't tried before and you practically did it in the past and failed. You know, like, no. Do y'all want to, do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to live? Like, swipe. It's $50. You know what I'm saying? But they have to hear these kinds of conversations, because you didn't even know what was going to happen when you called me and my energy on the other side of this phone. So this isn't scripted. That's what I'm saying. Like, my life is like this every single day. It is. But people don't believe that their lives can be like this because they've been taught that messaging doesn't work. The message to market match. You know, all of this shit has been so commoditized that people have forgotten what real meat tastes like. And fat meat ain't greasy, and it definitely don't stay in the bag, if you know what I'm saying. So it's time for an ass whooping. You know, it's just like, let's go. You think fat meat ain't greasy? Let's go. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So
that's what you're talking about, Fred.
Right. And the grease don't stay in the bag. Like, I know that. So that's why I've got some of the dankest marketing shit on the planet, because I don't forget anybody. And I know sometimes y'all need to hear them old school sayings because they still work. But we're going to do it out of love. So that's how I market, quote unquote, market.
I was gonna mention one thing. It says right there on my homepage: USN founded with you in mind. CEO Charles Isaiah Morgan. When technology and culture comes together, businesses and communities thrive. United Success Network welcomes organizations that embrace diverse leadership and global integration, because with this collaboration lies a serious competitive advantage. United Success Network, or USN, is dedicated to helping all communities in need achieve higher education, better jobs, improved health care, financial stability, and a more promising future. A better future for tomorrow starts with USN today. That's it.
Wow.
We're providing a unified blueprint for generations to come. And here we are. Let's make it happen.
Boom. Gentlemen, much love. And I got all y'all numbers. You let me know which next steps that you want to take. We're going to ride. I'm going to put this out because I told Crystal how fast I work. So, again, this is all experiential. So just follow my lead. I'll keep pushing us in the right places that we need to go, get you start talking to the right people. We can get this thing unclunky, like, immediately, and it's going to go faster than you ever thought possible.
Let's close this year all right. I'm ready.
All right, boom, let's go. Give me 24 hours, but I'm going to start connecting y'all. Like, give me about, right now I'm going to push this out, but give me about 5 minutes, and I'm going to introduce you. That's how fast I work, okay? Give me 5 minutes. I'm going to connect you right now.
Okay.
All right, guys. Love you.
All right. Take care, Fred.
All right, peace. And that's how we play. This is how speed scaling works. You know, because we're serious about helping people. You know, the only reason I need to take another 5 minutes is just because I'm putting all of this contact information in. You know, speed scaling is a movement. And that's all that we're going to do is just move. We'll let everybody else do what they do, and we'll just continue to push out of love, because a lot of people need to hear this. Okay? That's how we play. So you're going to see this as, I'm going to call it the Speed Scaling Moist Dank Mindset Accelerant 1.0. So let's go, baby. Gurus, catch up.